So everybody right now is probably wondering where is update 1.1. What's up everybody, welcome back to some more Cyberpunk 2077, of course gameplay and news daily, because today it's actually one of the last days before we should get a brand new update, either 1.07 or 1.1. We will discuss that in this video because there's currently a 14-page thread over on the official forums where there's a ton of people waiting for it. Of course, this update should bring in a ton of fixes. We will talk about what you should expect from it in this video, and CD Projekt Red's future plans when it comes to content, fixes, and everything Cyberpunk related. And later on we will talk about some of the DLC related stuff that we might get to see in the future, so let's jump right into it. Let's begin with update 1.1, or whatever this one is going to be called, because by the looks of it, tomorrow is going to be the last day that we should get it, at the very least according to the announcement that CD Projekt Red made about a week ago or so. So by checking the dates, on January 13, CD Projekt Red came in and announced, alongside of course their updated roadmap for the game, the fact that within the next 10 days they will also drop the first update for 2021. Well, guess what? Tomorrow is January 23rd, which means exactly 10 days from that announcement, which unfortunately is also a Saturday, so I'm not really sure if they're planning to release this over a weekend. It's not too uncommon to do that. They might just very well release it well this midnight, so in my region that would be another like 5 hours and a half or so, maybe 6 hours, depending where when this video comes out. But it could also be delayed over the weekend up until Monday, depending on how people work over at the CD Projekt Red offices, so you might want to get ready just in case for a bit of a reality check. Now, in terms of content, I would not expect any content from this update. If you were keeping your hopes high for that, this isn't the update for that. As a matter of fact, both this and the next one after that is going to be mainly focused on just bug fixes, making the game more stable, more playable, especially so on the old generation of consoles, but you should also see improvements on PC and the current gen as well. Especially so, I would expect this update, whatever it is, to be on a smaller scale that introduces fewer fixes, and then the next month we might get a much bigger one that addresses way more issues, so then we can then later move on to DLC stuff and finally see some brand new content in the game. Now, on that note, I will also say this: there is a pretty lengthy thread over the official forums, and as a matter of fact on Reddit and a bunch of other places too, and yeah, it seems that a ton of people are now, well, thinking that CD Projekt Red might delay even this patch that is supposed to arrive by tomorrow. Well, in this case, again, I would prepare for it just in case. If you keep your expectations low, there's no way you get disappointed. That is just like my opinion, if you want to agree with it or not, but it's probably gonna be best for everybody if they take time with the updates, properly implement the fixes, and then worry about these release schedules. Of course, assuming that all of this is done within a reasonable time frame. So again, I would get ready for a small delay up until Monday, but it could very well drop within the next few hours. Now, some of the expected changes, of course, should be to the game's performance and stability, as I've said again, on the old gen of consoles, but I would really want to see a little bit more than that, especially when it comes to car handling and the AI. And the reason I'm saying that is because there's already mods out there that have fixed this by quite a bit. Not entirely, but they can make it a lot better, especially since many of these are only a matter of implementing a few text lines here and there to change the crowd's behavior, for example, and even in those situations it is quite a big and noticeable difference. So I really hope that CD Projekt Red is going to focus on these two areas as well, and yeah, let me know down below if you're also of the same opinion. Now, since we were on the subject of DLCs, we could probably speculate on a few locations that make the most amount of sense, especially since parts of these are already in the game, it's just that they are incomplete and in many situations even inaccessible, well, unless you're using mods. Like, for example, one really important one that we saw in the diner trailer was with this character right here, where supposedly V goes in, contacts this character, and apparently he offers him either a job or just like gives him a rundown of how things work in Night City, especially actually as a merc. And surprise, surprise, we never saw this character in game at all, even though he is voice acted. He seemed to be a really big part of the diner trailer that we had a few months back. So where is this character right now? Well, many people over on Reddit correctly speculated that this might be a DLC reserved kind of character. And if you played Witcher 3, there was a similar situation with that, where we saw a certain, let's just say, important antagonist that was presented before the game's launch in one of the trailers, but as a matter of fact it was only introduced as a DLC character. So it could very well be that this one that we see right here is in a similar situation and it was just created for the purpose of a DLC, or maybe CD Projekt Red simply did not have enough time to fully implement it, because this character right here looks really cool. Also, speaking of the same trailer, in that same trailer we saw a pretty cool scene with something that is already actually in the game. Like, there's a really big mansion at some point in North Oak that currently is inaccessible, and this was presented in multiple like concept arts. We even thought that it would release with the game. It sort of did, because it's present right here on this side of the map. The only problem is that it is behind an invisible wall that tells you that there's nothing for you to see there, at least not yet. So that is a pretty big nod that this is reserved for future content that hopefully is going to drop sometimes in 2021. And I did check this area out, by the way, just to see what there is. Of course, I had to use some trainers to do that, but it seems that there's a pretty sizable part of the map that is fully on reserved for this one, and whatever this is going to be, it seems that it's a pretty important mansion that supports probably a ton of NPCs. Just looking around, it seems to be more than just a regular old mansion, and probably also some Militech or Corpo related kind of building, or maybe something a little bit more important than that. I'm really curious to see how this is going to be. Leave down below your speculation. There's of course a big area outside that seemingly is filled with a ton of places where you can sit, probably drink and whatnot. So at least the outside area could be a bar, and inside of it, maybe towards the lower levels, we might get something really crazy. Also, on the subject of DLCs, there's at least a couple of former voice actors for various in-game characters, like for example Jackie Wells' character, voice actor, did actually give his opinion about this, and he said that he would really love to make a DLC about Jackie Wells. He would definitely be down to that, for those who want Jackie in their ear as they do missions. So it would be super awesome to see more of Jackie, since he was literally with us for just a couple of missions and then he was completely gone, as if he was never there in the first place, because the game just skips those 6 months ahead and you never get to make any connection with this character. He just gets killed off right off the bat. And I'm pretty sure that there is some other voice actors in there that have commented similarly to this. On a final note, the only thing that I will comment on is this really crazy mod out here that somebody posted a while ago, I guess, but it fully replaces some of the in-game models with different ones. And I'm not gonna lie, the one that immediately came to mind was, what if you swapped some of the Joy toys in the game with existing characters, like maybe Panem, for example, or Judy, or somebody else if you're a little bit more wild. And it is totally possible. The scene is even fully animated with these characters, so if you want to like have a cheap knockoff of Panem, for example, you can totally go for that if you're into that. But I will say this, it's a pretty funny mod to go ahead and play with. The only thing that I regret is that you cannot do a similar model swap with Adam Smasher. Like, go in and smash the Smasher, if you know what I'm saying. I'm just gonna leave it at that for now. This is it, of course, with what you should expect in the next days. Now, if of course the update is going to drop sooner or later, you can find out more about that here on this channel, as I will be covering it as soon as it gets posted. But thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.